Probably will.
We should just nickname you TB from this day forward.
And what's my nickname then? I'm the one who coughs most. Oh shit, we're live.
We're live. He's
you're just my annoying girlfriend.
Oh, fuck you.
We are in the wrong studio, Martin.
It's time for a little Saturday morning fun time! Your show manager is Martin Acosta Santana and John Aaron Schmidt. And your producer is Martin Acosta Santana. I'm your announcer, the Comic Relief Crusader. And now, your hosts, Tom and Gerry. Gary.
Happy Saturday, everybody. I hope everybody had a good week. Here we are on the weekend.
You know, this is one of my favorite Val Kilmer films. Real Genius is such a great movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, Shinatsky. He will be playing this room all week. Don't forget to tip your waiter.
Oh, Tom's here. Oh, we're doing Highlander.
Tom is here, and we are doing Highlander. And it's a classic film. The director, had made his career. What?
There can be only one.
Oh, there you go. That's good. That's good, Christopher Lambert.
Only one.
Do you remember when his name was Christopher Lambert?
I still don't know what the hell to call him.
Well, after he made it big in America, he changed it to being Lambert. But before that, like after Greystoke and right around the time of this movie, he was still going by Lambert.
He probably just got tired of people mispronouncing his name and changed it to the American.
Well, he decided that he could make it as a star here in America. And so he just stopped going with the Lambert and went with Lambert, the Americanized version of his name, which is good. Because he eventually did. He did a really good job of suppressing his accent as it went on. And I think working on this film helped a lot because he had a trainer who worked with him, dialect coach, to get him to kind of try to emulate a Scottish accent. And it's always been kind of funny. The film that has a Scotsman playing an Egyptian and a Frenchman playing a Scotsman.
Scotsman playing an Egyptian who is playing a Spanish.
Yeah. I'm the dude playing the dude pretending to be a dude. So, but anyway, Tom, what are your thoughts on this film here?
I mean, it's a classic. I love Highlander. Can't say so much for the sequels. I mean, the series is pretty good too. But I mean, this movie is one of those movies that's almost a damn near perfect 80s movie. It's hard to believe that it flopped when it first came out, but it gained notoriety on video and on cable, and of course the series helped revive a lot of interest in it after the disastrous sequel. But no, this movie is just kind of one of those things. It's almost quintessentially 80s, and it's a great concept, very well put together by Russell Mulcahy. Excellent kind of use of the flashbacks and how you go in and out of them, and some experimental special effects. And I believe he came out of music video editing, if I'm not mistaken, and directing. And of course, you got the Queen soundtrack as well to just add even more of that 80s goodness to it. It's a classic film, and you have not seen it. What the hell are you doing? Watch it right now. I mean, come on.
It's
There
one of
could be
those
only
films where
one.
if somebody says they've never seen it, I'm like, you kind of got to go out of your way not to see this movie. But I never watched any of the sequels past the number 2. I
3
did
is
watch
okay, but the problem with 3 is it came out at the same time the series was out, and I think it kind of avoids the series, and it's like, dude. And then the 4th film is a combo of the series and the movies, and it was just horrible at how it kind of resolves everything. And then there was like
Well-
another movie after that was like straight to cable or something like that with
The
what's his
fourth
face from the
film
show, but yeah.
also has one of the most misleading trailers because they literally have all these shots in the trailer that makes it look bad, and none of that happens in the movie. They cut him in half and then he splits into 2. It's like, wow, this looks awesome. And then you watch the movie like, none of this shit's in the fucking movie.
Well, I like that when films do that because, like, this is something that a lot of directors ask for. That if their scenes are going to be cut from the movie, they'll say, "Let's put them in the trailer." They'll actually request that, and that happened with Frank Oz when he did Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. There are 2 scenes in the trailer that's not in the movie.
Well, and I don't know the whole story behind Highlander, the last one. I do know there's like a producer's cut as well, or the work print that's on the DVD and stuff like that that's different. And I know the way the Weinsteins work, they would butcher everything. So my guess is probably the Weinsteins came in and just kind of just destroyed the movie. Would be my
There's no
guess.
question because, like, the writer, the guy who wrote the story originally, a lot of what he wrote in there was taken out. Like, the Kurgan was complete. Hey, it's Brian.
He's a break, man. You can't talk about
Yeah.
Scotland without me being here.
Hey, you need a
What?
Highlander.
Hey, what?
Did anybody understand a word he just said? I can't understand.
I'm going to pump your ma.
What? Why
Why
don't you get that damn sheep out of your mouth?
There's also
Diddly
a
diddly
Highlander-
potatoes. Them Scotsmans.
Yeah, how about a
There's a
sheep,
Highlander
Brian?
animated film, which was directed.
Oh
by
yes,
the same dude
don't
who
let's
made
not
the
forget the
Scroll.
Highlander animated film plus the animated series. Thank you, Shanatsky. Yes.
So a lot of spin-offs from this one movie. And the thing that always bothered me was how disjointed everything was.
Here's the animated movie that he was talking about.
And
here.
amazingly, I felt the series did a better job.
The series
creating
is
some
what really
cohesiveness.
kind of right. Well, the series is what had the actual fan base. Let's be real. And the series was huge overseas, especially with the female fan base.
Especially
because
the first few
obviously-
seasons, which was shot overseas.
Yeah.
In fact, his houseboat was on the Seine River in Paris, as I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think even the international crowd got extra spicy scenes in their versions, which I think are on the DVDs and hopefully the upcoming Blu-rays they've been worked on for years, and hopefully they're worth it.
Oh, they knew exactly what they were doing. Highlander, the series starts with Adrian Paul without his shirt on. They knew exactly how to sell this.
And Adrian Paul, easily, back in the day, I used to say this guy could play a young Sean Connery if they had ever done a biopic about that guy. And it's always surprised me we never got a biopic about him. What was that? The Kurgan was what I was getting ready to say, was completely different in the
God.
original script. The original script, he was a more torn character and kind of a sympathetic bad guy. And they opted to go completely away from what the original screenwriter had done and created a very two-dimensional villain, which works in this world. It just does.
Yeah.
We don't need to know anything about this guy other than the fact that he wants to be the winner, the final one. He wants to kill everybody.
Well, he's that perfect like bully, right? Like he has that kind of thing about him, and it's kind of just that whole like alpha male thing, right? Like he was the
Right.
strongest of all the immortals, so he's just got this, you got to lick my boots kind of attitude about everything, and
And
he's
played by
been
the nicest guy.
yeah. And then you got Mr. Crab playing him on top. Like, I mean, he has the most quotable lines in the film. As much as we say there can be only one or whatever, all the great lines is our Kurgan's Mom, and like, hi, I'm Candy. Of course you are. It's better to burn out than to fade away. Like, I mean, he has all the best lines in the whole movie. And he's the most theatrical in the film as well. Like, I mean, he comes in the
Well, it's
scene and he
over the
just
top.
chews the scenery up.
Yeah.
And it's Clancy Brown's greatest performance ever, hands down.
Ironically, he had trouble with it.
But yeah.
He had trouble with that because he's a more thoughtful person, more thoughtful actor. And he kept like, does my character really have to do this? And he was questioning some of the things he was doing on screen. They're like, just do it. It'll work. And so he trusted him. I'm like, okay. And, but because I've seen interviews with him where he's talked about some of the stuff with this film, but he also talked like, there's a great interview with him where he's talking about Sean Connery and some of the things that would happen on set. And he's an all-around really nice guy, like sweet to a point. And he had problems with playing Kurgan the way he was written in the final script. Did you ever see any of that, Tom? Him talk about that?
I've seen him talk somewhat about it. I mean, I know he talked about how it was a little different in the original script and like you were saying there, but yeah.
And he actually consulted the original writer thinking that was good. It's like, look, man, there's something they always tell you in Hollywood, never sleep with the writer because it's telling you they have no power or authority over anything.
It's a pity you never abided by that.
Yeah. Look, man, they're hot a lot of the time, so stop bitching at me. Yeah, the better burn than fade away. Rock of Ages. Oh, that's interesting. Thanks, Slasher Fred. We have I've not said hi. Oh, I'm sorry.
It was from Neil Young's "Hey Hey My My," but that's a different song. But
there's also,
I mean, it's an old school saying, but yeah.
Yeah,
Clancy Brown, if I remember right, said he got paid only like $50,000 for this movie. He never got any residuals either. It was a one and done kind of deal.
Yeah. That's weird. Well, it's a weird film, the way it got released, everything. By the way, I haven't said hi to everybody. We got Lord Thoth in the house. All hail, Lord Thoth. We got our good friend Slasher Fred here, who loves popping in on Saturdays. Real Wade Nation, my good buddy Wade. I hung out with him a little bit last night before I went to bed. Cavatino Cavalryman Che is here. What's up, Che? Quotes from the Raven is here. That's a new name I don't recognize. Read by Nature is here. E. Clay Thomason, Soul Assassin, and Ham Dinger are all here. And I saw a comment from, quote, what was that? I saw something. Welcome to the gathering. There you go, my friend. And this is a gathering of friends to talk about a great film. And let's see. Wade, you got to, I love you, buddy, but you got to work better than that with your back door. You're not getting a video for that one. Let's see. Hail to Tom, Gary, and company. Back to you, my friend. Lord Thoth putting an emoji, which doesn't show up here in StreamYard. I don't know what that is. And I don't know what that is, Tom. Do you have trouble with that when you stream? With not being able to see people's emojis?
Yeah, StreamYard don't show most of them.
Yeah, I don't like that. You too, Brian?
Yeah.
StreamYard. They need to fix it.
In my top 10 80s movies of all time, absolutely. The movie also includes a director's cut version that has some added scenes, including one where during World War
when he rescues,
that scene was in the original. That's in the
I was going to say here's the big misunderstanding. The director's cut in quotations is the actual movie, right? The U.S. version, they cut it down for some dumb reason. And it's missing some very important scenes, like who Rachel is, for instance, as you just pointed out, and a couple other minor things. So ever since then, since it's for probably the last 30 plus years, the only version that's ever been available on any home video version has been the original cut, or basically the director's cut.
The director's cut, right?
Pretty much doesn't exist anymore. It's kind of a also ran.
Thankfully, so exactly.
Yeah, it's just a butchered down version of the movie. Yeah.
You're comparing apples to oranges here. It's like, yes, they're both movies, but they're different genres and they're just completely different animals. So I would have trouble comparing Tron to this film.
No. His following comment shows he's joking.
Oh, Hulk laugh.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because I love Tron. I love the original Tron. but it's a completely different film. And I will say on my top 20 list, Tron is not anywhere on my top 20 list. This film is. My grandmother is a McLeod and a McDonald. Oh, can we get some food from you, Thoth? From the Isle of Skye and the Highlands. So that makes me a ginger Highlander.
There's a few of those.
If you're a ginger, then you're from Norse heritage. You've got some Viking.
The cuffs match the collar.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Man.
Yes.
So, E. Clay Thompson, Tom and Gary, here they are, born to be kings. They are the jizzers of the universe. Nice one.
Man.
6 years ago, before Highlander, Queen also did the music to Flash Gordon, which was also a big flop, but great film. Beloved cult classic.
An absolute.
Is Slasher
stone-cold
Fred
classic.
blaming Queen?
I think Slasher Fred is. Are you trying to say Queen causes?
As I always tell people, to be fair, Flash Gordon was a huge success in the UK. It was the rest of the world.
Highlander was actually fairly successful in the UK as well.
Yes, it was. It was a huge hit in the UK. Yep.
Well, and
And
Queen
it
may
made
have been a big part of
enough
that
money
too,
back
yeah.
through that and video sales to earn a sequel, but just not a good
Yeah.
sequel.
Well, that was the thing that helped. But then, like, the thing with Queen was, I mean, if anything, you can kind of argue they helped the film live on past their due date. Same thing with Flash
Absolutely.
Gordon. I mean, if it wasn't for their music kind of keeping them relevant, helping it anyway.
Yeah,
Oh, fun
absolutely.
fact.
I've never seen 3 or 4. I've only seen 1 and 2. Was the 4th one any good? Donnie Yen was in it?
The 4th one
Got
is
some nice fights.
the problem is the story. Okay. The problem is how they resolve it. Because to me, as a fan of the whole deal, I was like watching this movie going, okay, you have this bad guy who's breaking a bunch of rules, and you already have the good guys who are technically breaking a bunch of rules because they have these immortals who have had themselves basically encased in the Matrix, who are keeping the game going forever. So to me, I'm like, okay, so you have both sides cheating at this point, and then at the end, spoilers, to conquer the bad guy who's supposed to be the most ultimate immortal ever, who's killed more immortals than anybody else, blah, 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 blah. Connor decides that Duncan has to chop his head off so he can take his power so they can actually defeat him. And I'm sitting here going, why don't y'all just break the fucking rules and fight him together? Everybody else has been breaking the rules all goddamn movie. That's what the audience wants to see. They just want to see these two team up against this asshole. Like,
Tom is.
I'm sure most people in the audience are feeling
Sam
the same way I
Kinison
was.
is now.
I agree entirely.
You're
Tom.
just like, what the hell? You're setting this whole idea up of all these rules being broken in the first place. Why not just break the rule at the end that everybody's going to agree with finally and go, yes, let Duncan and Connor fight together for once in their life? Because for those who don't know, one of the rules is you're not supposed to team up, right? So the bad guys, that's of course what they always do. So, like, yeah.
Tom, you know,
It's
to make
only
people worry
one-on-one.
about you when you do that.
Nah, don't worry too hard.
There's
People are
only
getting
one
worried.
scene to see Highlander 3-4, which is where he's walking down the street towards the guy. Guy has his sword. He doesn't have anyone. You know, and the guy's like going on. It's like, oh, I'm going to kill you. It's like he's basically says, like, you're already dead. Guy goes to swing. Connor grabs the guy's sword and decapitates him with it.
Huh. Well, I'm going to tell you,
3-4.
the gentleman that trained, did a lot of the sword choreography and trained both all the actors. Also is the guy who trained and played Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back, trained Mark Hamill in his sword fighting.
Yeah.
And he always referred to the actor that played Duncan as his best student. Even though I heard later there was another student that he was very proud of. And
he
of course,
still does sword work, actually.
he actually has a school where he does training. And I thought what would have been nice is to have any of the great actors that are still alive that were involved with the film and series to have bit cameos as nobodies, just different characters. But they should have, I felt like they should have approached him to help with the choreography because he is a really good swordsman. This up was originally supposed to be a boxing match, but they weren't able to get the rights to do it. So they ended up going with a pro wrestling match, which really doesn't match what's going on in the backstory with the character of I almost said Duncan. What's his name?
Connor.
Connor McLeod. So it didn't match, but it's still a cool opening scene. The way they did the camera work.
Fun fact: the narration at the beginning was recorded in Sean Connery's bathroom, if I remember right.
A bathroom. I can't remember if it was his or not, but I remember it was recorded.
And that
Hence
was
the
the
echo.
insistence. Yeah. The insistence of somebody, I can't remember if it was the producers or the studio, because they needed some explanation to some of this, I guess.
Which then gives it that classic noir feeling of the dead guy narrating.
It is kind of weird when you think about it, but yeah.
And I love
Since
the
the dawn
locations
of
they use in
time,
this
now.
film. Yeah, exactly.
Since the dawn of time, immortals have roamed the earth or whatever. I don't fuck.
Room drunk.
They've been
Living
drunk.
many secret
Some of them are.
lives.
Well, and Connery was a funny one because he was the big thing to get the movie off the ground, right? Like they needed a star, they needed a name, and they snagged Connery. They got him for $1 million for 7 days of work, and the producers bet the director they couldn't get it done, but he did. Although Connery complained about being rushed, and he also complained about some of the conditions that the actors had to work under as well. In fact, famously, he even stopped production, I guess, at one point or something close to that effect because of how the extras were being treated. And it was a big fiasco. But he was, he swung his dick around.
I thought you were going to say he complained about the weather in Scotland, which would be ironic.
Well, he did, but like at the same time, like it was just more or less like a what do you call it? He was more worried about the conditions for the actors than anything.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it was like they weren't getting fed. These guys were getting hurt. They weren't getting any time to like relax or anything like that. And it was just rush. And he's like, well, first of all, before we shoot anything, you're going to feed each and every one of these people, basically, and stuff like that. So like, yeah, he just pretty much shut shit down for the day until the producers finally agreed to better conditions.
Yeah, they wouldn't let them have breakfast.
Yeah,
And
there was a few other things. Yeah.
I wonder how much of that is due to Russell Mulcahy being a was he a first-time feature director?
This was his first feature, yeah. Before this, it was a little bit of commercial work and mostly music videos.
Yeah.
And he's famous for the Kim Carnes video, the Bright Eyes one, the vampire song.
Because a music video shoot is a lot less. Yeah, this is a feature, so he maybe didn't know that these things had to be done. Bizarrely, you think the producers would have told him, but yeah. No, he did some great music videos.
He also did Duran Duran, and Duran Duran was actually one of the bands he approached to do music for the movie. Can you imagine
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how Queen got involved.
Yeah, he was just trying to get them to do a song. They saw the movie, they loved it, and then just did a whole album.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they brought him in for one song. So they didn't actually see the whole movie from my understanding. They saw like the opening scene here and like one of the main flashback scenes, and I think Connery meeting him scene, because it was whatever stuff they had done at that point, because it was really early on. So I think there's even an interview with Brian May or Freddie Mercury where they're talking about seeing like this really early cut of a few scenes on his videotape, and they went and wrote. They were only going to do one song, and they went and wrote both Princes of the Universe and Who Wants to Live Forever, and they came back with either those two or they came back with like 4 more. I can't remember what it was. But in between there, they ended up going from just one song to like 4 or 5 songs. It was like, so like they went to basically being like, and even working with the composer, Michael Kamen, because they actually used pieces of Who Wants to Live Forever within the score. Right. So that they became like just kind of just intertwined at that point. And I mean, and the album, of course, Brian had, I don't know what that was, just a magazine, or what'd you have there? Was that
Well, this.
Yeah, what's that?
This is the Queen kind of magic tour program.
Oh,
because
freaking
I saw
awesome!
them at Nebworth in their final ever gig with Freddie, and of course it's full of Highlander stuff, Highlander posters.
And those videos are
photographs.
awesome, yeah. Because they actually had Christopher come in for the video and stuff. Yeah.
It's one of the programs that survived my losses over the years. But yeah, it's full of Highlander pictures and references and Christopher Lambert pictures and stuff. It's not all about that, but it's got a lot of that in it. So I'm very pleased to still have that, you know.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What was your first reactions in this scene? Because I remember I was stunned at the quickening scene. All the cars lighting up and shit and the horns going off.
Yeah, it was very effective.
Oh my God. And I was in the theater watching this and I was blown away by what I just saw. Not to mention I love sword fights. So I'm like, that was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. It was a great opening to the whole movie. Brilliant.
Man.
And it's a movie that used the time difference quite well, I thought, you know, the way it switched between this.
The flashbacks, it was perfect.
Yeah, I thought it edited that very well, I thought, because sometimes that can be a real pain.
Well, the use of wipes to going to the past was brilliant.
Yeah.
And that comes from his experience and all of his experience in making music videos.
The Nolans could learn how to do time jumps from this movie because they still don't quite have that down, in my opinion.
Reed by Nature says that they can translate for you. 70s Rock fan.
The Rock, yeah, hey, Reed.
I really haven't understood a single word Brian said the whole show.
Well, and that's okay, Tom, because
I really wish he'd speak English. What?
I don't understand. Spoke proper England, you bastard. I don't understand it myself. So if you look at the list of videos that Russell Mulcahy did, it's like the greatest hits of the 80s. It's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, he was huge. Like, isn't the Queen connection because of him, if I'm not mistaken? Because didn't he direct a couple of their videos prior to that or something like that?
I don't know. I mean, I'm
trying to remember.
I'm not seeing anything until...
Because I think Russell did direct the Princes of the Universe video, if I'm not mistaken.
He did, and they did the Kind of Magic video.
Yep.
Which is with the
but I think even before that he might have. Let me look here.
I'm on Wikipedia right now looking. He did Allentown. He worked on Bear Cage, Betty Davis Eyes.
But I don't see any Queen.
By Go West,
Highlander.
Chloe. I'm looking.
AC/DC was one of his first. Baby, Please Don't Go, AC/DC.
Yeah, I see that here. Yeah.
Oh, he did Gypsy by Fleetwood Mac.
XTC, The Buggles. Yeah.
Oh, this is the dude that. Okay, he was the one that directed Video Killed the Radio Star. So he basically
with the Buggles, yes.
Yeah. So
it's right here. I just found it.
Invented MTV, then, didn't he? Really?
Basically, yeah.
But yeah, pretty much. It's there's some great stuff.
Video
Ultravox Vienna, which is a beautifully shot video, black and white, very old, 1920s, 1930s style for the Ultravox song Vienna. It's a brilliant video.
He directed the UK version of Pour Some Sugar on Me as well.
Yeah. It's interesting as somebody in the chat mentioned Def Leppard.
Yep.
Anyway, he had a hell of a record, but it was his first feature. But I mean, it's pretty good, I mean, I don't know what the onset atmosphere was like, and you said there's some trouble, but the finished movie is great.
That might be what I'm getting mixed up with is because you guys brought up Duran Duran before. I see he has a huge catalog of Duran Duran videos.
Yeah.
Maybe he was the one who had thought about Duran Duran, which I could see Duran Duran doing the music for this movie.
For sure.
Right? I mean, if you had a second choice to go with, that's who I'd go with, right?
Because and the single most cinematic video he ever made, and the one that got brought up at the time about making this film, was the one he did with Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Oh, yeah.
The vampire song.
I love how insane that video is.
It is absolutely insane.
No, it's not insane. It's creepy.
Tim, there are a lot of things that sound gay about me.
Why? Gary's just full of love for his fellow man.
I'm exploding with love.
At least they did film in Scotland, which is something. They didn't
that castle they used.
That's Island Dunham Castle, yeah. Which I've been.
That is a castle I've wanted to do a pilgrimage to since this movie.
I've been there a few times. But also, of course, the castle that's there now isn't the original, because the original had the shit blown out of it by the English during the Bonnie Prince Charlie era rebellions, the Highlander rebellions. So the one that's there now is a recreation of the original. It doesn't matter; it still looks great. It's in the same place.
Yeah. Now, there is something interesting here that I addressed while Anima and I watched it, is the fact that I was trying to figure out while watching this movie how immortals are, because they apparently weren't always immortal, because Duncan MacLeod was born, raised in this family, grew up, and then died.
Well, they
and came back.
are, but that's just it. That's the catch.
Quickening.
They need the first. Well, and that's the thing, is they've used that word so loosely as to what it really means. But yeah, there's the whole idea is that you are born an immortal, but you don't know you're immortal till the first time you die.
You die, exactly.
And then
I
at
also
that
had to
And
point,
you don't actually die unless you're decapitated.
And they're
Yeah,
getting
well, I
less
mean-
and less. So I don't understand why they stopped being born, because they obviously did.
Maybe they're getting killed faster than they're being born. So
Yeah, and I hated the whole sequel where it brought up Planet Zeist and all that. And I'm hoping that there's a joke in this movie somewhere where someone says, well, where do you come from? Well, it's certainly not from like a crazy planet named Zeist or
They
something.
had to introduce aliens. What a cheap trope, you know.
Oh, it really was.
well, and that was because they didn't know how the hell to get Sean Connery back into the story, when it was just like, it's pretty simple. You just do flashbacks with him only. Duh. Like, how dumb
Because more
can you
happened,
be?
yeah.
I think Cavatino's got a good point here. The quickening must be, and Gary, you can confirm this, like getting fingered in the back door and your prostate massage.
Oh my God, that deserves a video.
Absolutely. That definitely caused a quickening.
Looks quite orgasmic, depending on which kind of quickening we're talking about here.
No,
But
that's
yeah,
the quickie-ing.
There's a great actor right there.
Celia Imrie.
Yeah.
She's great. Yeah, she's been in a ton of stuff.
Oh, I'm talking about the dude.
Oh, I thought you meant his harridan of an ex-girlfriend that turns on him, Celia Imrie. She's a very well-known British actress. Yeah.
That guy in the background right over her head.
Oh, that's James Cosmo. Yeah, he's brilliant.
Yeah.
Well,
Great.
He's been in, wasn't he in Game of Thrones as well? He's in a ton of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was at the
Lord
wall.
Mormuth.
Lord what Muff?
Mormuth.
Lord Mormuff.
Lord Monmouth?
Lord Mormuff.
Fuck off, all of you.
Mormuth?
That was his
Today-
catchphrase. Fuck off, all of you.
A Venezuelan who will play a Mexican Egyptian.
We all want more Muff. That's true. Yeah.
A
But yeah,
Venezuelan, a Scotsman, and Tom from Minette's Edge walk into a bar.
That's Martin.
I don't know
That's
what
Martin.
happens.
Well, that's a good point about the aging. Does their aging stop when the quickening happens for them, which means
Yes.
There you
That's
go.
the
It's like
understanding,
once they die, they stay that age, is what I understood.
Yep.
Because wasn't there
Here's
even
another. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I thought there was even maybe an episode where there was a child immortal. I'm trying to remember.
Yep.
Yeah, there
I was gonna
was.
say, yeah.
And
Oh, weird. That's like a child vampire. Just it's troubling.
Well, that's kind
This
of what
guy-
it is, right? It's basically taking the vampire trope, but making it so they're not so creepy and murdery.
right.
Blood
Blood
can still be
drinkingly.
pretty murdery. They can be murdery, but just
well,
not scary.
Abigail
Just
came out,
other
and that's
immortals,
apparently
really.
pretty
But
good.
yeah. Sorry, what'd you say, Shanatsky?
Oh, Abigail just came out, and that's actually apparently pretty good. And it's a child vampire. I mean, you can do it. It's just you have to be very careful with that because
because the whole vampire thing's got a sort of sexual aspect to it too, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to Anne Rice.
Very often. Very often.
Well, actually, it
John,
kind of
that's John
originated in-
Polito. We lost him, I think, in 20 or 22. Great fucking actor, character actor. And God, he's been in some great roles in his career.
It was very
This is one of
careless.
his early young career movies.
It's very careless of you to lose him. Where did you last
Well, he's
see him?
misplaced. I should say that, not lost. No,
Where
he
did you
died.
last see him?
Dick.
Now,
You mean he's dead? He's dead.
now she
He is-
doesn't have the best characterization, but this is an important character in the thing because she doesn't know about any of this. So all the questions she asks is
She's
basically
us.
giving exposition to us.
She's us. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, and it's like she is the Greek chorus for us. She is the audience learning these things, and yeah, it's very well done in this. But I don't know. I was getting ready to do something for he did that because you made a great statement, and I was going to do the great John Cleese line from the Parrot sketch.
It's an X.
The moment's lost.
It's shuffled off this mortal coil.
Mortal coil.
This
Yep.
is an ex-immortal.
He is bereft of life.
Yeah.
It rests in peace. He has ceased to be. He is an ex-parrot.
He'd be pushing up the bleeding daisies if you hadn't nailed him to his perch.
Hey, it's Ranker Steve is here. Howdy, y'all. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. We are, my friend.
Well, of course,
we are.
because we're watching a manly movie, so he must have smelled it.
Manly.
Yeah, you smell that testosterone and smegma, and you can't miss it.
Well, funny thing about this, because we talked about the sword stuff earlier, I was going to bring it up, but we got past it so quickly. I don't know how many of you guys know this, but Christopher Lambert now is legally blind.
Yeah.
Then he was damn near blind.
Yep.
And even then, like, the funny thing was he did all the practicing and everything with these really strong prescription glasses that he had to wear at the time. And as soon as they'd start rolling, he'd take the glasses off. Well, he damn near chopped off Clancy Brown's hands quite a few times and some other accidents that
He also
ensued.
got
I mentioned he had a severed, nearly severed his thumb.
Yep, that's what it was. Yeah.
In Highlander 2. He went to block, parry a move, and he was slightly off, and the blade hit his thumb.
Ow.
And that was, man, and he can't wear, he's physically incapable of wearing contacts. There's some condition he has in his eyes.
Yeah. So like he has, and now, like I said, his eyes vision has gotten so bad that I've heard that he can barely even see anymore.
That's a
But
shame,
like,
yeah.
yeah, which is sad. But this is, I guess, something he's been dealing with for a while.
Not to mention his main handicap is that he's French.
Yeah, well,
I mean, that's
we
just
can't
a
do
real
anything
life.
about that.
That's just
Yeah,
total bad.
thank God he learned English, because French can kill you.
He's Belgian, not French, right?
You know, the first word he learned in English was surrender. I surrender.
Oh,
No,
My favorite is Steve Martin's joke about it. Somebody save that man. He's speaking French. He says, because you got to sound like you're practically choking to death when you speak French.
No. See, he managed to overcome his handicap because he learned never to give up.
And to never speak French.
Yeah.
Tough learning your lines when
It's a hell of a handicap being French. Rim shot for Brian from Tim.
Yeah, it's I was just thinking of Clancy Brown when you see him at these Highlander things he does, various appearances wearing the kilt. It's pretty impressive. He's impressive in a kilt, and that's not always the case.
well, that's because he's hanging below the kilt. That's why.
That's right. He's got a long kilt.
His nickname in China is Wei Hung Lo. 3 Tracks in the Sand by Wei Hung Lo. Clancy's blade and some of the shit he learned to do. This right here, he's rolling the sword around his body. That was a fucking cool move. But his sword is crazy.
It's the equivalent of the guy assembling a gun, but it's assembling the sword on the spot.
I was always saddened that it felt like there was something more about that character that's running around like Bernie Getz looking for criminals. And he's got a car loaded with guns. It seemed like there should have been more to his story.
Maybe they were planning, they just had to cut it down for time.
I don't know. I was kind of hoping you guys might know something about that because I've never heard anything.
What was the question? Sorry.
The dude with guns that runs into him in an alleyway. It felt like there was more to his story. He just sort of shows up.
It's kind of the same thing with his friend in Central Park. I mean, they had actually.
Well, there was more to him. I know that. They shot more scenes with him. They just got cut. We do get a little bit more with the European cut, but I understand there's more scenes with him.
I understand those scenes were lost forever.
That was the fire. Yeah, that's right. And nitrate, people don't know. Film is so flammable. Back in the day, they used nitrate.
That's why you should never smoke film. It's bad.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
Safety. No, thanks for the safety tip, Egon.
Yeah, that stuff's lethal.
Of course, she's drinking wine, or it's a brandy sifter, but
Looks like brandy.
looks like wine. That's a deep red. It really looks like
Brandy, she's a fine girl.
Oh, great song. Great song. This is I wish YouTube wasn't such a cunt and we could just
I
show the whole
know.
movie.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Because I would love to host watch parties where we can just sit down and do like what is it? Mystery Science Theater 3000. Riff every once in a while, but talk about the trivia and stuff. We're
Well,
relegated to slideshows. And
that
even those
wouldn't-
would get claimed.
That wouldn't do. How dare we celebrate old movies of the past?
We could probably get away with that shit on Rumble. They seem to not give a shit. It's the old West
do-
over on
You
Rumble.
can do it there, yeah. Once in a while, we should do that.
Pick a special. Like I'm looking forward to when you finally cover Last American Virgin for Canon. Because I went in on that conversation because I
It's
love
good.
that movie.
It's getting closer to that, yes.
Oh, dude, I
Closer.
fucking love that movie.
I think the
Because
next
I identified with so much shit that happens in that movie on a personal level. Like, holy shit.
I think I promised the next one I would do would be the Captain America, but we'll do maybe. Do
Oh,
that
I like that
after.
one now.
We'll maybe do that one after that. So,
I became friends with him through Facebook. Nice guy, Reb Brown.
oh yeah,
He played. No, wait a minute. He played the TV Captain America. Which are you doing
Yeah.
the canon film?
We're
That's
doing
right.
the
You're doing
Canon
the film.
Yeah.
1990 was it? 89, 90 when
Oh,
it came out.
God, that's round
I
about-
was in the army, so I think it was 90.
It was a real, yeah. Just
Maybe
to keep
91.
the copyright going, they did it.
Well, it's like the Fantastic Four thing. They were trying to keep that license.
Yeah. It's Alex Hyde, White, and people like that. I think, so, if I remember rightly. Anyway, we'll do Last American Virgin at some point.
When you guys do, the way it should end, just dead silence and watching as your souls slowly leave the body.
Slowly.
Oh, dude, that last scene broke me.
Absolutely.
Here's this funny film, and then they throw in reality.
Yep.
That
It's one of the
cold,
most brutal,
hardcore reality of
most
that
brutal
girl you
ending.
like ends up with the scumbag, and you find out like that way. It's never nice the way you find out. Who in the name of God was that? My name is Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod. I am over 700 years old and I cannot die.
I love my sheepskin.
You know, I told somebody one time that the reason why sheepskin was discovered to be really good for, sheep bladder, whatever it is, used as condoms was because somebody, when they slipped out, it came out with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Possibly.
this works.
I think just wearing the sheep the whole time is a good condom.
Walking around with a sheep on your dick.
You're not likely to get much action with that.
Oh my God.
Sheep is New Zealand's form of birth control. You know that?
That's right.
Whenever you get Randy,
It's a
just
public
walk out on the farm.
It's a public service. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what was that old joke? How in God's name can you fuck a sheep? And he goes, oh, it's easy. Just push them up to a fence and they keep backing up on you.
Oh, the one I heard was that, you put them right next to the cliff face. That way they keep backing up.
Same thing.
Yep.
Same thing. This is rough. He gets basically, I forget what that's called.
Lynch.
What is it? One person.
Jen.
Brian?
Sorry, I was doing something else. I'm
Oh,
looking for a video.
something. So I didn't hear what it was when you guys talked over each other. What's it called when you get tied to a ox? I forget that thing is even called.
Flogged? No.
This is like talking to a 5-year-old sometimes.
Hey, there it is, a bonny castle. In fact, all houses in Scotland look like that, you know.
Yeah, everybody lives in a castle.
Everyone lives in a castle. One thing about castles in Scotland is the vast majority of them are actually ruined because of centuries of war, and they got
called a yoke.
constantly destroyed.
It's called a yoke.
Yeah.
Instead of being crucified, he was yoked.
Yeah.
Which
And
just sounds like somebody
how,
threw eggs at him.
it's exactly how they would have reacted then. I mean, especially the Highlanders were devout
Black magic of some sort. Yeah.
They were devout Catholics, believe it or not. So they would have suspected the devil, foul play by the devil. So
yeah.
And Solus has says ruined.
Ruined. It's ruined. What a
That's what's
stramash.
ruined the cloud.
Stramash. Oh, I love
I
it.
remember this read by nature that Roger Daltrey was on the series playing a Scotsman. I love Daltrey, man.
So
he was actually a pretty good actor.
Well, Roger's good lad, yeah, good actor. So Max Demon's chat you briefly flashed up. Local Hero has very often been cited by me as my favorite movie of all time. I love that movie.
It's that director you and I've talked about.
Yeah, Bill Forsyth. I deeply love that movie.
He did that movie with Dickie Bird, the radio guy.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
The Ice Cream Wars one.
Yeah, the Christmas one. Yeah.
Comfort and Joy. Comfort and Joy.
Comfort and fucking Joy. What a great movie, dude.
He made 3 or 4 brilliant movies. Yeah, lovely director. But Local Hero is a beautiful, beautiful.
Lancaster's in that, isn't he?
So it was his possibly even his final film. Yeah.
Well, by the way, originally in the script, he was actually supposed to have a ton of kids. Like, when his wife died, he was supposed to be like surrounded by this like huge family he had built up over the years.
Right. Yeah.
It was even supposed to.
And that's the other thing; they can't make babies.
Yeah, originally.
Yeah, it's sad. It's a sad part of the tale, the way they made it. No kids.
But I do like at the end, he says one of the things you can choose, he can just choose to be human and grow old. And then he can make babies.
I think he didn't choose. It was a whole package. Now you have a great power that is being able to know everything, even what any given person is thinking. But the other side of the coin is now you're mortal.
Yep. Gets to know everything, but doesn't know not to make Highlander 2.
Oh, he was riding it and had a lethal car accident.
Just to show you, I'm going to share this screen with you for a second.
See, that's a ridiculous slur saying that a Vietnamese guy would eat their dog. It would have been a Korean guy.
Yep.
There you go. In my Christmas folder, there's the movie right there. Comfort and Joy. I love that movie, and I watch it at least once a year.
It's brilliant. He did another earlier one called That Sinking Feeling, which was before those. It's a lot lower, even lower budget, but it's about a group of kids who reckon they can get rich stealing a bunch of stainless steel sinks.
You told me about this one, and I actually went and found a copy of that movie.
It's a really cute movie because they think this is their way to these things sell for £150 and so their whole
rich.
A heist to steal all these sinks. Yeah, we're going to be rich. That's a great movie. Yeah, we should do either a Bill Forsyth or a Local Hero thing. Really are the dog's bollocks.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
The dog.
I mean, that is a great scene. This movie is full of great scenes. I mean, regardless of what you think of Mulcahy's later work, This one, he nailed it, I think, here. I mean, it's well paced and edited. Story goes forward just the right speed. All these scenes are very, they're not thrown in for no reason. They all show us something. It's great.
Yeah. Hero and
And
his
the
crow.
other film that was a great hit with me as a kid was Gregory's Girl.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's Bill Forsyth as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's another one of
Yeah.
Forsyth's film.
Yeah, great stuff. Gregory's Girl. It's a bit of a hit, that movie.
Why does
Yeah, it made it internationally. It was a
Yeah.
hit here in America when it came over. I remember I found out about it because of Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah. Claire Grogan, who of course went on, it was in that. Not she wasn't. It was Dee Hepburn was the good-looking girl. Claire Grogan was the other girl, and that she went on to be in a band, and I'm trying to remember the name of it now. Oh God! And she was in Red Dwarf, of course. She was the first Christine Kachansky. Altered Images. That was the name of Claire Grogan's band. They had a few hits in the 80s.
And John Sinclair, who played Gregory, he's had a great career. He's been.
He's good. Yeah, he's good indeed. Yeah, he made lovely little movies. Bill Forsyth. Well, still around, I think. I don't think he's dead yet.
Oh, Forsyth? No,
still-
because don't you remember I tried to contact him so you and I could interview him?
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Never got any word back.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's a dead end where that contact info I had. But he's one of those guys I would love to interview because so many of his films are great.
This is how you do a mentor too. The right amount of smarmy, but looking out for your best interest.
Yeah. Or are the stars just pinholes in the curtain of night? That's how he's saying this. And he sounds like this.
About this for this film was the poster that got released that confused people. Remember the first poster, theatrical poster? It was just a black and white close-up of Lambert's face in shadow. It made no sense. Like, what the fuck does this poster tell you?
Could have been anything, yeah.
He looks like a serial killer. Is that what this is? Oh, man. They did such a bad job marketing this film.
No, that's an interesting line. Irresistible pull towards a faraway land. So I guess they are introducing a concept that they are from somewhere else. Not aliens, but why they're all scattered about normal, natural-born humanity then is never quite revealed. But
It's
something I hope they
movie.
visit in the new movie.
Yeah.
To explain something to us instead of giving us a mystery.
Some of that wonderful Scottish scenery there.
Here's the thing. Mysteries are great. And if you have one that's built up that's really interesting, you need to have a really good payoff. Because if you don't, you get fucking zeist. And everyone fucking hates it.
Well, and also when you create a mystery, you create desire for knowledge because it is our nature to uncover whatever it is that's not known.
Yep.
It's just our nature. And so by not giving us that, it led to zeist. Stupid fucking zeist.
This is always the problem I have with some Westerners, not all of them, mind you. You understand that sometimes ambiguity is a good thing.
Ambiguity is different. What I will say here also, this is one of my favorite things about their ability with the quickening is to connect with other animals and that he can connect with this elk.
Well, as John Cleese said, when asked where's the ambiguity, he said it's over there in a box.
In a box.
And J.J. Abrams spent his whole life looking for that box.
Yeah.
Never found it.
Yeah, it's like the mystery box only works one time. So this is interesting because there's a great little story that Clancy Brown relayed in one of those interviews I was talking about, where he said that he was talking to Jason Connery and heard the story from him as well, that when Connery was doing this scene where he's running along the beach with
Christopher
Connor here, that he called his son and told him, because his son was working on Robin Hood at the time, and he said he says that great line from Murtaugh, "I'm getting too old for this shit."
Yeah.
Because
See,
he tried
this-
to keep pace with him here and he couldn't do it.
Yeah, they had to use an elk for that scene because if they'd used a sheep, it would have got pornographic pretty quick. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
What,
the. I love
are
these
we
hero
going to
shots.
fuck it?
And then
This scene, the sword fighting is bad because I'm assuming they were scared shitless. out
Oh
there.
yeah.
But the whole like the way it's spinning around them is fucking awesome though.
It's such an intense moment, but when you look at how narrow that thing is, I would be terrified on that fucking precipice.
Yeah.
Now, pendejo, I love that.
Curious thing, Spanish people do not use that. That is mostly a Latin American insult.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, a Spanish would have called him a gilipollas.
And who wouldn't? See, Mel Gibson's just out of shot here filming Braveheart.
Wallace. Yeah.
It's the same set.
My favorite scene in that movie, Braveheart, is the battle at Stamford Bridge, and they don't show the bridge.
That's right. Yeah.
It's their battle is in the out in
It's
an
in a
open field. I'm
field, I
like, that's
know.
not how that battle went at all.
They never wanted to fight in fields, the Scots, because of the knights, the English cavalry. Yeah.
Yep.
They've always tried to fight in a swamp or on a bridge or something. There was a really hot looking girl behind one of those stalls there. I can't. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Back when they used to actually cast attractive people in movies. I miss that.
Mm-mm. Oh, there she is. Lovely smile.
And I forget what that's called. The sash that the Scottish wear over the shoulder.
sash. Well, that is a plaid. I mean, that's what they call a plaid. A kilt wasn't never. Now, what is a kilt? Which is a single piece of material wrapped around your waist. That wasn't the way the Highlanders wore it. It was one long piece of plaid wrapped right over their shoulder and then around their waist. So they just call it.
Interesting.
I don't know what they called it. I mean,
it's just part of his kilt. Okay.
yeah, it's one giant, and they rolled into it, and over the shoulder. So it's a giant long piece of material. Now they just really do the kilt part around the waist.
Here he's telling to let her go. This is a great moment.
Because the way he's dressed is far more accurate than today's representations of kilts, which were really invented in the sort of 17th, 18th century by Walter Scott, Sir Walter Scott.
Sir Walter Scott, yeah.
He invented all this, what we see today as Scottish wear. The Highlanders had much, and they weren't even particularly tartan. They were just one color, dyed one color, usually.
These scenes, I think it take place nearly 1800, maybe a little less, because he was born on 1785, if I recall well.
Yeah.
Put his age plus the 5 years, and yes, I will be around 1800.
Okay. I remember it like yesterday.
Well,
I love the story of the casting of Connery because he was offered the lead role and he rejected it. And then he read the script and he's like, I'm very interested in this Rodriguez character.
Yeah. He was too old for the lead by this time. He was
obviously, yeah.
This is a great sequence.
I love the fact that he lies to the Kurgan and says she's mine. Leave her be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that doesn't help too much.
Shows the Kurgan's
pretty he would have killed her. I think he would have killed her if he had known it was McLeod's.
Yeah. Kurgan's pretty dumb if he believes that lie. I mean, he did, but it shows how dumb he is.
He just doesn't care. He's basically a wild animal. At least that's kind of how I was interpreting.
I don't think so.
He still follows the rules.
He makes the strategies, and he's more clever than the plain scenes let you know. You have to read the subtext.
No, I'm not saying he's not clever. I'm just saying his behavior. He's like the level of fury, everything else. Also,
Well, how much of that is his nature, or how much is his upbringing in the Far East, in the Mongol or the steppes with, Mongol type upbringing? Is it nurture or nature? Or a bit of both?
I mean, his version of disguise is I shaved my head.
And his clothes and the tattoos.
Well, he fits in well in New York. He does look like a freak, So.
Yeah. Now, as far as people that were considered for casting on the film that weren't in it, I know Kurt Russell was one person. I heard that Hulk Hogan had been approached at one point to be in it
for the Kurgan, or
yeah, they were looking for Kurt Russell for the Highlander,
yeah,
and Hulk Hogan for the Kurgan. God, I'm trying to remember if there are any. Let me look it up real quick.
If it had been Hulk Hogan, that opening, that fight scene would have made more sense in the beginning.
It would have.
Let me see what
I do love how this whole background blows up around them.
Yeah. Their fight is so powerful, elemental. But yeah, a couple more inches and he would have taken his head.
Clancy Brown does have a distinct career. He's one of the few people who has killed Sean Connery on screen.
That's an interesting point. Well, how many times has he died at someone else's hands?
That was another one I forgot about. Costner was another person considered.
Oh, I'm glad they didn't do that.
Michael Douglas, Peter Weller, Ed Harris, William Hurt, as well as Mel Gibson were all considered for the Connor McLeod.
I could see Mel Gibson.
I could see Gibson because he roughs up quite well. Costner's too smooth. That would never have worked.
Yeah, he likes playing characters who are torn by what it is they're doing, and he kind of really does better in that kind of film.
Yeah, I can't picture it.
I don't know. I mean, Connor McLeod has a certain awkwardness that I don't see Gibson playing.
Well, I would tell you to watch Hamlet by Franco Zeffirelli.
Yeah,
I have.
And I think that he could have pulled off a character like that. I do. But I think they got the perfect casting. It's just still funny that, and it leads to a great line. He says, "Where are you from? You talk funny." That cop.
Many different
lots of different places.
Yeah.
Lots of different places.
I'm from lots of different places. Not from France, no. Or Belgium.
Baguette.
I did not call you what I think I said.
Do you like my baguette?
I would love to hear Christopher Lambert say hamburger. Hamburger. Hamburger.
He wouldn't say hamburger. He'd say hamburger.
It's the only thing I laughed at.
With to say McDonald's.
Steve Martin as the Inspector Clouseau. That was the only thing I laughed at, was him trying to say hamburger. It was so fucking funny.
Get him to say McDonald's.
Boss, we have a super chat.
Well, it's our friend RRTNZ from New Zealand. Our Kiwi friend. What's up, dude? $2 Kiwi. There can be and should have been only one. I will not argue because I'm not a fan of them making the second film. I wish they'd never done it.
The film was awful.
And I've never watched the third or fourth.
If they never made
it. It's a series because it was good.
As we know, there never was a Highlander 2. It was never made. But if they had made it, it would have been awful.
Yeah, it's what do they call that? Morgan Freemanism, where you think something happened.
Yeah, it's a Mandela effect thing.
He's the guy
never
who
happened.
Mandela, that's right.
But I had a dream that they made it and it was awful.
This is the scene. Yes, this is the scene where he finds her and saves her. Kills that Nazi.
I love the way he says, like, yeah, whatever, buddy. You're the master race. Boom, boom. It's also where he says the Queen album name. It's magic.
You're right there. That's when he says it. It's a kind of magic. And here he smokes the guy. I love that. So he's not just good with swords, he's good with machine guns. Yay!
He's adaptable.
But again,
Now-
thank you for the $2 super chat for you, sir. I wish we had a Highlander video, but I will play you. I don't like that one. I don't like that one.
I had a couple of clips, but I don't know where they are. We've got so many clips now.
Oh, wait. You know what? I will get a video for him.
I got clips of Braveheart. I got Sean Connery.
I love this scene with her when you realize who she is.
Okay. One thing I do appreciate Highlander for is a series. It taught me that you should let go. Like, I was able to drop Star Wars before everyone else because I'd gone through that already with Highlander. Same thing with Star Trek. As soon as it starts to go bad, just get the fuck out because it ain't gonna get better.
Okay, we're at the time of the show, so while you find a suitable clip, I will run the ad, if you don't mind. And we'll see you after it.
Meet the Seattle Vigilante. Like so many comic heroes, this warrior hides his identity. But his identity isn't the only secret he has to keep. After grievous wounds received during combat, Tier 1 operator John Russell begins to recover and comes to terms with his new reality of being an amputee. And as he learns how to use his new prosthetic limb, he finds himself caught up in the bureaucratic red tape that too many wounded veterans experience, the exhausting medboard process. Out of sheer frustration, John takes it out on the criminal scum of the city. But when reality kicks in, John realizes he started something that's having an impact on the greater world around him, and thus has to reevaluate his motives. And moreover, just how far is John willing to go to finish this war he's declared against the criminals in Seattle? And will he even survive? From the creator of IDW's award-winning graphic novel Code Word Geronimo comes a new story about a different kind of warrior, Vindicated Inc., the first of its kind disabled veteran action hero comic. The Vindicated Inc. graphic novel crowdfunding campaign on fundmycomic.com is provided in the description of this video. We hope you become a contributor. Please share this link. Thank you.
That looks really good. I'm glad I supported it.
All right, here we go, man. Your video.
Give me the prize.
There you go.
I know his name. It would
That would be interesting, Che.
It would be terrible, but it would be hilarious to see the version where it was Jean-Claude Van Damme as Connor McLeod. From lots of different places.
Yeah, Tom Clancy's in the Gap Club.
No, he's in the Gap Club. I like posting about that. I don't know if Tom or Brian knew I have that. I have what's referred to as the Gap Club. Because since I was a kid, I've really looked for celebrities with big gaps between their teeth, like I had. Because I've got mine.
So you've been yearning for representation.
Oh, I thought it was probably a gay thing.
It wasn't so much about representation. It was just
the
something I
Gape
found
Club.
really cool.
I thought it was the
I'm
Gape.
not fucking an idiot.
It's Gape. It's Gap with an E at the end. Gape. The Gape Club.
That's what I was
My
thinking.
What?
famous Gap Club member is not Gape, but Gap is Terry Thomas. He's always been my favorite.
Oh, Terry Thomas, hilarious.
I thought the first rule of Gap Club was you don't talk about Gap Club.
No, that's Fight Club.
You're
Gap
talking
Club.
about Gap Club.
Here's a funny thing. I've got this gap, and I will whistle every once in a while on accident, but I can't do it on purpose. I don't know how to whistle through my teeth. I'm like, it'll happen. I'll go, did you hear that? Anima's been there when it's happened. Did you hear that? I'm like, oh my God, why can't I fucking do that on purpose? Never been able to do it.
You want to develop that skill, Gary?
Oh
Okay.
my.
Let's go, Shinatsky. What?
No, it's like the whistle there. It's like the same thing you whistle early.
Oh, I thought this was going somewhere. I'm sorry. I thought you were going to make a joke or something.
No, I can actually do something like that. I realize the microphone's not fucking catching it, so I'm not even gonna try anymore.
It will happen to me, man. I've done it on a show where I've whistled. There's a song when I was doing the vocals for. You can actually hear a whistle in the demo.
Okay. What is this?
It's something I wanted to share.
Okay. Share it.
It's you. Do it again. I want to watch it again.
It's the quickening.
Still can't
I
understand
like
him.
it.
Still can't understand a fucking word he's saying. It's the what?
I can't remember who did that for me. One of the Legion of Memers. Might be
It was Monkey Jeebus. He loves doing that.
Probably Monkey Jeebus. Yeah, sorry, Monkey, if it was you. I've got so many of these now I can't remember, but that's probably Monkey. Yeah.
And just so you know, I still show you at the end of most shows.
That's it. Show's over.
You gonna say something, Tom?
I'm gonna use it for myself sometime.
I
Tom
don't
was
remember
trying to
what it
share
was.
something. Tom
I don't
was-
even remember what it was now. It's fine.
That's not the best clip I've got, of course. We all know what the best clip is. Which I'm going to
is?
share. I'm sharing it
She's
now.
gorgeous.
She is.
Then, not now.
Is that what she looks like now?
It's
She looks
Dolly.
like that now.
That,
Have you
that
seen
was
this?
Dolly.
Dolly
That's Dolly.
pet peeves. Nobody notices I've got a great ass too.
I notice.
I'm sharing my favorite video of a clip that I've ever made.
Okay, here we go.
It's the greatest clip ever.
Did Gary die?
I was waiting up. It was like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I was waiting for Brian to show up for a meeting, and I fell asleep, and he fucking recorded it.
I mean, that late because I'm later. I'm in a later time zone than you. I'm never up that late. It must have been.
Oh my God, it was funny.
I didn't have the heart to wake you either. It's a beaut. It is. She's wearing a nice woolly jumper there. I love this whole sequence. It really did handle the aging thing very well, taking her forward, and it was quite emotional. I thought, particularly the music, of course, that they used for the Queen song, "Who Wants to Live Forever." I thought they did it very effectively. I shed a tear.
Yeah, I actually got emotional with her death scene.
I did.
Most people don't realize Brian May is singing lead on this.
He
song.
is. Yes. He starts out.
Wait a minute. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian May's singing lead on this song. Freddie doesn't come in until "When Love Must Die."
That's right. Brian starts it off. Yeah, I've seen Brian May perform it live himself in with his own band, singing the whole thing.
The guy, yeah, the parts where it's like, "There's no time for us." That's all Brian. Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I said. He went and wrote that song, and then Freddie did Princes of the Universe. So they had 2 when they went in, and I think they ended up doing another 2 each or something like that. Because I think Brian wrote what did he?
Well,
1 Year of Love.
1 Year of
Was
Love.
it? Yeah, and then
Give me the prize. Give me the prize.
Give Me the Prize. Was that Brian's or was that Freddie's?
Well, that sounds more like a Brian in
but I think that one might be Freddie's because it's
could be a
very
Freddie.
similar music. It's sonically and musically, it's almost the same song as Princes of the Universe. It's just like in a different key, if I remember right.
Yeah, they are similar. Princess is a kick-ass track.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Love it. Rocks hard. Sonically, very, very hard, very heavy.
Or you could be right, and Freddie did do 1 Year of Love, and
Well, no,
Brian did give me the prize.
it's surprising sometimes because you think Freddie might have done some more of the sort of less heavy stuff, but some of the
Right.
heavier stuff was him because he was a rock.
Then again, now that I'm hearing 1 Year of Love in my head, it does sound almost like a Freddie song too. So I'd have to go back and look. Yeah.
I suspect
This is a character I would love to see expanded upon in the new film.
Captain Tanaka.
Yeah, this guy.
Yes, Casagear. It's Captain Tanaka in episode 1.
Yeah, that's Hugh. I can never pronounce his name though. Quarshie. It's a weird Quarshie.
I like this scene though because it also sets up the idea like that's in the TV series, and that is that there's a bunch of these guys, and it also does kind of leave the whole. Even though we see him get killed, they keep talking about, well, this is the end, and here we are. It's the but yeah, it's like it's hard to believe that there's all these immortals because like Anima brought up, like they would still be born probably, but just less of them every generation or whatever it's supposed to be. I don't know. It's kind of funny
writing in this movie, just because you get the full sense of the totality of their relationship, and it's only like a 5-minute scene.
Yeah. Plus, you think these two could never fight each other to the death for the prize. They're such good friends.
Oh, they will be compelled. There's nothing they can do to avoid it.
But yeah, he had quite a good career, of course. As people in the chat have mentioned a few things he was in, and he had a long-running British soap that he was in, Holby City. He was in like 600 plus episodes of that, so he's done okay,
I think they're the kind of friends where they probably like flip a coin on it, or like they play cards or something like that. I'm like, if you got to do this.
So 1 Year of Love was written by John Deacon, the bass player.
Oh, Deacon did that one.
Yeah, and if you think about it, he
didn't know that either. God damn.
He did.
Deacon was a rare one. Yeah, he did a rare one.
He did You're My Best Friend, and it's similar in some ways to You're My Best Friend.
Yeah, and also another
best friend. I thought that was Freddie.
No.
No, yeah, you'd be surprised. They all worked on different songs. The most obvious one, the one to tell the easiest, is what's his face, the drummer, and I just forgot his damn name.
Roger Taylor.
Roger Taylor.
Like you can tell his the problem.
Because they even kind of make a joke about that in Bohemian Rhapsody about how all his songs sound like a 12-year-old wrote or something like that. Yeah.
1 Year of Love was Deacon.
He's like, you wrote a love song to your car, man.
That's right. Well, that was a big bone of contention because those days it was on the B side of Bohemian Rhapsody, but both sides got equal royalty payments. So Freddie was pissed that Roger's song about a car was getting as much money as he was getting. But yeah, so May wrote Who Wants to Live Forever, and Give Me the Prize was May.
Okay. All right.
Don't Lose Your Head was Taylor.
Oh yeah, Don't Lose Your Head. I forgot about that one. Yeah.
And Mercury was Princes of the Universe. So
that's the only one he wrote, huh? Okay.
And A Kind of Magic was Roger Taylor, the actual song.
Really?
I love that song, man.
Taylor's a great writer. Radio Gaga, that was Roger Taylor.
Yeah, that was his too. You're right. Yeah.
They all wrote big hits.
Who did because wasn't it Roger also who wrote I Want to Break Free? Or was that one of Freddie?
That was one of Freddie's, I think.
But it was his idea for the video, though, to dress and drag. That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't Freddie's, and they said he got landed. Everybody thought it was him, but no, they all wrote major hits separately, but in the end, they said we'll just credit everything to Queen because they were tired of the arguing about it.
We got a question, Tom. In the Highlander remake, have they decided who will play the Kurgan? I've heard only rumors, nothing else.
We know that Bautista, what's his face who played Drax, Dave Bautista, was initially attached to a version of this movie for the longest time, but we have not heard since the John Wick guy has taken over and Henry Cavill's been cast. Who will be playing the Kurgan?
Other rumors were that Michael Fassbender was attached to play a character, but
we've just been hearing that they may have a villain, but it might not be the Kurgan, because that's the thing. This version of Highlander, they're setting up so that they know there's going to be sequels. They're not going to paint themselves into a corner like they did with this one. But it is still technically Connor McLeod and all that kind of stuff. So I'd imagine there's definitely going to be similar beats and callbacks, or like whatever you want to call it, to the original film. They're going to use the Queen music, for instance. So
Yeah, apparently John Deacon wrote "I Want to Break Free."
that's what I thought. That's what I just said.
You're right. No, you were right. So I was just checking. He wrote that.
Oh,
And he wrote another one, "Bites the Dust."
yes, I said that one. Yes, that one.
So they all had their hits.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, our good friend Kingsport Cal is here, and he had was it a question? Tom Cruise and Keanu Reeves are Highlanders. Yeah, guys, just don't age right. There's something up with their aging.
Oh, did you see Lawrence Fishburne when he was giving the speech for Keanu? He actually brings up, maybe you are actually an immortal Highlander.
There can be only one.
Yeah, that's it. You've got to have somebody that is menacing to him, Cavill. That could be a threat to him. You've got to have somebody. Well, I heard he's losing some of his muscle mass, that he's going for a more lean build for the film.
Still doesn't change. That's one of the probably 6 foot. I mean, Lambert was probably like 5'9" compared to Clancy, which is probably 6 foot something. I mean, you're going to need a big dude to be imposing to Henry Cavill.
The problem is there aren't that many guys anymore.
Well, Batista would be one of those people because he's kind of perfect for a villain.
How tall is he, though? I mean, I know he's tall. Let me see.
I think he's 6'3".
Just gender swap it and make it Sydney Sweeney. Then it'll make a ton of money.
Don't give him the idea.
Sweeney,
okay, he's 6'4".
It'd be the Kurd. Damn.
I don't know. I had a feeling Aaron Taylor Johnson might have been okay for it, but I'm not sure. But yeah, it's hard to
Henry
say.
Cavill's 6'1", so he's got a little bit of height on him, but not much. 3 inches, that's all. So they might want some.
How tall is
somebody even bigger?
Oh,
yeah.
Look at that.
They might want to go bigger yet. That's what I was thinking, because Bautista's only 3 inches taller than Cavill.
Well, I know there's
tall enough, but
that Belgian actor that was in Sherlock Holmes, big dude that Robert Downey had to fight in that one scene in the first film. The giant motherfucker.
Dude, look
he
at
played,
that.
He played the giant in 300 too.
Look what Reed is suggesting here. He says Scott Adkins.
Maybe.
Scott is a good martial artist, but I don't know if he's big enough.
If they don't have Liam Neeson playing one of the Klansmen, I'm going to be so pissed.
Now, which
Angus?
version of
He should play Angus?
He's got to be the guy who's like, yeah, get out of here before they get you. Like, yeah, he should be that guy. You know, kind of.
Oh, that was what's his name? I brought it up earlier. James Cosmo.
Yeah. Well, and I've already said that if they don't get Antonio Banderas to play Ramirez, then they're completely missing a huge opportunity.
That's who I suggested too.
Right? Because I mean, they got the Zorro connection. He's actually a Spaniard, or at least could play the part. Let's say. I mean, I don't know where he's
supposedly Egyptian too.
Well,
and
yeah,
so, and he's already was in the 13th Warrior where he played an Arab. So fuck it. Yes, he can do it.
You just come on. Awesome. We know they're going to cast Pedro Pascal. That's
oh
Jesus Christ, no.
And he's not even that much, probably closer to the same age as Cavill anyway. Like, yeah, Liam was, I just think it would be funny just because.
Look, man, if I were to compare it to like a disease, Antonio Banderas is like a fucking serious STD, like syphilis, while Pedro is fucking herpes or chlamydia.
Yeah, that's true. Alan North was in Police Squad. Yeah, good catch, Slasher Fred. Good one. Somebody had to play the straight man in Police Squad.
Speaking of that, did you see, not to be off topic, but did you hear that Liam Neeson was talking about working on Naked Gun?
Yeah.
He doesn't sound too convincing on.
Just cast what's her name to be in it too.
I think they're done shooting it already.
Oh, what is her name? The from Baywatch, the big titted bitch.
Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson.
Oh Lord. He said there's about 2 belly laughs in the whole movie. I'm like, that doesn't sound too confident.
That's not good.
No.
No. Like this is
I think
this is supposed to be laugh a minute, right?
Because anybody who's seen Liam Neeson in the Ted movie, buying the breakfast cereal,
That's hilarious.
that's how he has to play the character.
Yeah.
That realistically.
He's dripping with water, isn't he? Standing at the checkout.
I will not be
it's
followed.
good. That's
I
right.
understand tricks are for kids. No, sir, it's just a commercial. So I will not be harassed. I will not be followed. Yeah, just good thing.
So I'm going to find that giant actor I was talking about that would be really good. If not the Kurgan as a character that he's got to get past. Oh my God, he's a real giant.
I guess other question, are they going to have other characters from the TV series in this?
I have no idea. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know how they're going to, I'm really curious because we have heard very little. We've seen very little. Now, I think they mentioned it at CinemaCon this last week here, but I don't know if I don't think they showed anything. Maybe there was some footage or a image or something shown. Now, they did drop a poster on IMDb. I don't know if it's official, but I think it is. And what it has is it has Henry standing basically in like a car park.
Right, yeah.
And he's in a suit. And then you look at his reflection and he's in the Highlander.
He's the Highlander. Yep.
Yeah. So that may be real. And if it is, it's like, okay, then they get it. Right? It's like these guys are clearly going to be paying homage to the original film. Henry's the perfect guy to cast in this, if you ask me. He looks a lot like Duncan, but he can play Connor just fine. I mean, that's the character everybody likes anyway. I mean, the women like Duncan, but I've always been more partial to Connor as far as he's always got a little bit more of a sense of humor. And I like Duncan's sense of humor. Duncan doesn't have quite as much sense of humor, but
there you go. This is the giant that I'm talking about.
Oh God, that'd be perfect. He'd be perfect. Holy shit. Can he act though? That's the question. I've never seen him.
He was my favorite one is when he's in the Sherlock Holmes film. But he's been in a lot of movies. Here he is as the giant in 300.
That's basically what you need right there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
How tall is he?
need. That's what you need.
He is 6'10" and 3/4 inches.
Shit.
Holy shit.
He's exactly what you need. Yeah.
Oh, his nickname is Kurgan.
Oh, no way.
That's too perfect.
That is too perfect.
Wait a minute. I got to see if that.
Yeah.
Fucking
He
yes,
looks
it
like
is.
him. He looks kind of like him. That's why I was like, holy shit, yes. I see
Holy shit, dude.
That would be
but
amazing.
This is who being perfect for that role.
Hell yeah.
Oh, this was good. I didn't like the movie, but he was really good in this scene.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it so much.
And hey, if they want to have a female lead,
I felt like there was potential in it. It could have been better. And I love kaiju in it. I was hoping that we had more pictures. Like there's a shot of him in Sherlock Holmes. I fucking love that fight scene where he's just throwing him around. And he's not scrawny either. He's not like some giants that suffer from acromegaly. This guy has got tone. Look at him here. That's not a fake body. That's his actual physique.
Yeah.
By the way,
you know you're in trouble when the guy can just sit on you and win.
We have another super chat from TNC. Sorry.
In Highlander, Chuck Norris played the explosions. For that one, you get this video, my friend. You guys.
I love his spin.
That one priest is like, I've got a little boy to get to. Stop interrupting. Here, me, a Catholic, making that joke. I should be ashamed of myself.
Well, I'd be ashamed of the church too.
I'm not. I'm ashamed of some other things, but my godfather's a great priest, very great man.
Raised Catholic too. So less Catholic, as I like to put it.
Well, my show on Monday is about Father Ted, so lots of Catholic jokes in that.
I've never watched it. Is it good?
I've been wetting myself laughing all day, rewatching scenes to play on the show. So funny.
Father, they say you're a racist now.
That's right. I've watched all of that episode. It's silly. There's a Chinatown on Craggy Island.
Actually, you know what? I did catch a scene. I watched one scene from that.
Is that the George's official position, Father? How did you become a racist? What got you interested in that kind of thing? The mark on the window, you just knew where that was going to end up. The black mark on the window. He's at the window giving it this. That's a funny show. What a show.
Oh, yeah. Here's the scene. People trying to pray.
I always love the way he said, "Remember, Highlander."
Sacred ground.
Oh, he lied. It wasn't Ramirez's woman. She was your woman.
Now this time it's personal.
I have something to say. It's better to burn out than to fade away.
Just so good. Scenery chewed.
Exactly.
Consider
It's
yourself
like-
chewed. Scenery.
Scenery was chewed, spat out, then chewed again.
That's right. That's what you got to do. You got to. He was perfect for the role. Perfect.
Oh yeah, this movie is just one of those
Yeah,
things.
love it.
Where like I don't even know if I could. Like Kurt Russell might have done all right, but I don't know if it'd have been the same. It'd have been a Kurt Russell movie then, right? It wouldn't be Highlander.
No. It's one of my 10 favorite movies of all time.
Oh fuck! I mean,
There's a
love it.
particular
It's amazing.
tone that this movie does particularly well, and it's kind of great because ultimately it's a story about transcending immortality.
It is, and it's also one of those weird things where it has this balance of not taking itself so seriously, yet taking it so seriously in a soap opera melodramatic kind of way that works. It is just a fine line that I think that's part of why they haven't been able to recapture it since, maybe outside of the series, because it's just that perfect mix of we as the audience know how friggin' ridiculous this is. Like this is as ridiculous as it gets as a concept. Like, I mean, it's basically vampires, right? Like, I mean,
yeah.
But what is so cool about it is you've got these guys running around with swords to Queen music, and it's just people chopping heads off. It's like I said, a 12, 13-year-old boy's dream of a movie, right? You got tits, you got action, you got heads chopping off.
Love story, which is also in the best version of Dracula, is Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola.
That part, the guys don't give a shit, but you just got to have a reason to fight, right? So there you go.
But I do like this scene, Tom, right here, in particular, where he forces her to stab him. And he delivers that line, my name is Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod. I was born in 1518.
Yeah, it's probably the second
Glenfinnan,
most quotable line besides, well, third most quotable line, I should say.
and I cannot die.
Don't ever call me Welsh.
After that,
I can
never
forgive
deal
anything.
with the French. They're not people. They're objects.
Yeah, it commits. It's absurd, but it commits to it, which is what you want.
Well, that's fiction.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, rock and roll music is completely over the top, but that's what makes it amazing.
Oh, you have to commit. Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah, I can't think of too many other stories that did the whole thing where the person actually gets over the depression of immortality of seeing everyone around them dying.
Well, and that's kind of just
that's right.
why I like how he acts, right? Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
No, go. No, you go ahead, mate. No, it's
Well, I'm
all
just
about-
saying, like, he kind of has that melancholiness to him, and that's why it works. And I don't know if that's where anybody else would have gotten it. And I think it's not because so much that Lambert knew what he was doing. It was just that he didn't know what he was doing. You know what I mean? Because he's literally can't speak English at this point. He still barely understands it. He's mimicking his voice coach or dialect coach or whatever. Basically,
Yeah.
he would get the lines fed to him off
He's
the side.
reciting it phonetically, yeah.
Phonetically, exactly. So, like, I mean, I think in that they were managed to, and that maybe can go to Russell Mulcahy going, okay, this is what I got to work with, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this work for the movie. Because if you had like Kurt Russell, come on, he's got too much of a twinkle in his eye to be able to believe that he's unhappy that he's gotten to live for this long. Lambert, you feel it, right? You feel this guy, he's got like it in his bones. Like he is like, I'm sick and tired of this. I've been alive for hundreds of years. I've seen all my friends die. I'm sick of tired of this game that we're playing. I mean, he does, like certain aspects of it. True, don't get me wrong.
I don't know. I think Russell looked very, very broken at the start of Stargate when he's contemplating to end himself.
I mean, I'm sure he could have figured it out, but I just saying, I don't know if Kurt would have let the character be that necessarily.
Kurt's too American to play it, and I don't mean that negatively.
No, and that's a good point too. Great point, Brian.
Right. Yeah,
you need somebody who's foreign to play this. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he's it's not a bad thing, but it's just who he is, and
she, of course, as far as the story goes, not just the obvious love story, but she also represents that thing that he's resisting because he knows that if he gets too close, it's just going to happen all over again. It's like, but yet she gets wrapped up into this shit. And that's what's great about her character, because like you guys brought up earlier, she's the audience, right? And Keith is here, somebody I don't get to talk to too often. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, how's it going? Don't mean to disturb the party.
I think Keith would make a great character.
No, you're a part of the party, yeah.
The Black Highlander.
Keith would be Kurgan.
The Highlander.
You know what? It would be great to be in this movie, but I would rather play Castigar. Castigar just seems like a character that would have a lot of fun playing. But also, if they're going to stretch this out to a trilogy, then whoever would play Castigar would have a much larger role. Considering, I think I was saying on another show that you really don't see in this movie too many people that are friends of Connor McLeod's in this film. I mean, what, 3?
You could do Amanda.
No, it seemed like there should have been a lot more at the beginning and building down, dwindling down.
I'm not a big fan of using the television series. I'm more of a fan of using the original movie to create what you need to create, because to me that's really the purity of the story.
Yeah, and don't end it. The first film cannot end the way the first film ended.
No, and I don't think they plan on it.
Yeah, I think they really mean to have an ending.
But then the prize could not be used as a plot device.
I honestly, here's one thing, and I said this on a mead not too long ago.
Yeah.
And Script Doctor agreed with me. I don't know for what that's worth, but I'd say honestly, if you're updating the story, get rid of the fucking prize.
Yes.
The prize is pointless. Mm-hmm. It doesn't fucking matter. You already live forever. That is the fucking prize, right? But you just have this idea that there's good and there's bad, right? There's light and there's dark immortals. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You have those that are going to try and consume the power and those who are going to try and protect the power. And that's all you need. Just simplify it that way. Yeah. Then you can go on forever. It doesn't matter. Having the idea of a prize only works for one movie only.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a competition. Why do they need to compete for something? Yeah.
That's just it. Yeah. And I get it. It's supposed to be like, oh, well, the final one will be the ultimate one to bring all peace to everybody. And that's kind of what they play off of in part 2. And that's kind of where you're like, you're really painting yourself into a corner with that shit.
Yeah.
And I mean, the series did a pretty good job of being, and I don't mind if they add some elements of the series, because I mean, you've got like the Watchers, you've got other players involved that can really expand this idea, especially if they kill this whole idea of the prize. Like, just kill the prize. Just make it that immortals have always been a part of us, among us. They've known they have to keep it low, because otherwise, they're going to be expected to be like Supermen, right?
Yeah.
You can come up with 100 different fucking reasons for why, they kind of keep it on the DL. But it's this constant battle, in the darkness, behind the scenes all the time, going on since the beginning of time, right? Like, that in and of itself is an interesting story, right? Like I
Mhm.
love the whole setup of this movie is interesting because you're like, you had these two guys literally have a goddamn sword fight in 1986 in the middle of a parking lot. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Oh man,
the
You know
first
what's
cop's the question
crazy?
is, I love the cop because he's just like, I got no fucking clue what's going on here. Why are these guys like? Did they forget how to use guns or something all of a sudden? Like, and he's just so it's like this whole like uniqueness of this idea just sets you off on this path of okay, well that's a way to get into the story is that these guys have always been here, they've always been around, they've always been doing this. We just never saw them or we caught glimpses of them or certain people in history may have been, but like you just play with that idea, right? It's a great
Mhm.
concept in and of itself.
Well, and if you
Yeah.
use the Watchers, I think on the television series, while the Watchers were set up to be this great thing, they were mainly used only as a plot device for expanding or explaining how to get characters from point A to point B and a little bit of background. I think if you're going to expand that, you should also
Well, you can
show
use them to kind of make sure the rules stay in place, whatever rules
That's
you
right.
put in place. Yeah.
But also to keep the prying eyes of the general public out of it. You
Exactly.
use
That's a
you
great
use them
idea. Yeah.
like the Vatican a little bit. They
Yep.
are set up to really make sure that all of the outside influences of the world do not impact what happens with the Immortals and vice versa. They are the rules keepers. You guys exist doing this. As long
But
as
we
you
would
guys are here.
completely take away the whole there can be
Yeah.
only one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah, you kind of have that go away, but or you could just say that no, you can keep that still,
Yes.
but you have it as there can be only one dark or light side. See, that's the whole thing. There still is a prize to be had. But that's what I love about this concept is you have both the good and the bad guys for the most part follow these rules, right? And there's nobody that's keeping them in place other than the watchers or whatever, if like Keith was saying, which makes them, gives them purpose in the story. Not only that, they're protecting them from the normal public, like brought it, but many reasons why you wouldn't, as an immortal, you wouldn't want to be known publicly, right? For 100 different reasons. So like in this though, you have this mutual idea and respect and understanding that there is a sort of prize in a way, but it's more so just the power of it, right?
Could you have
Those
them
who control the power,
Yeah, could you have? Yeah, I was going to say, Tom, couldn't you have them? There's one of them is acknowledged as a leader, but there can only be one of those. But there's a competition about who that should be because someone to do bad things with it, someone to do good things. All sorts of motivations can exist amongst the immortals, but only one of them can ultimately be in charge of whatever it is.
You know how you
or
could
something
show
like
that?
that.
You
also-
take the plot of the man who would be king, the Sean Connery movie, and you have it where it was an immortal, and he actually did basically rule as a god for God knows how long.
Something like that. Yeah.
Well, and that's why you have the rules in place, right? Is so that you can keep the battle on going because you need kind of a balance, but also to have the rules in place because the bad guys are going to do whatever they can to try and gain as much power as they can, right? So in this case, then it kind of puts a place to where there is this mutual kind of like honor among thieves kind of thing to it, or I don't know for a lack of a better way of putting it, but like
you could have it be some sort of a cyclical thing amongst the immortals, whereas you reach a point where they just have this feeling and they come together and they really start to battle, and that lets the watchers become useful in that they can keep the general public unawares. And then ultimately, whoever comes out on top of that version of the competition then becomes the new head of the Watchers, or at least a part of that, because if you give them the ability to be able to read minds, that would allow the Watchers to become a powerful organization to be able to do what they're doing. Because there's no organization that can ever keep everything away from the general public and prying eyes, let alone balance that.
Right. You basically,
what the immortals are doing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, and I agree with that. Like you have the prize or whatever it be at this point, basically just being the chair of command, right?
Yeah,
the dark or the light side. Yeah,
yeah. The equivalent would be the Council of High Elders in Blade or other similar vampire stories. There's a Council of High Elders. Someone runs that, and they've got all the lore, the secrets, the access to certain powers, who knows, whatever, all the things that need to be kept from humans or to be kept from harming humans. that's the prize, and that's the
and
the only one.
but only the immortals don't know the whole thing, so they just think that it's this thing, and if you keep it as sort of like with the person who actually has the prize, who has this ability, they have a normal human life, so as soon as that person dies, everything starts up again.
And it works well because what you have is you have the bad guys constantly trying to battle it out and fight for the more supremacy, right? Because
that's right.
You still have the idea that whoever you kill, you take their powers.
That's right.
And on the bad side, you can even set it up that the bad guys will kill each other no matter what, too. Right. Yes. So they're in competition as well. But the good guys don't, but they are more their whole thing is to kind of like be in numbers. But that's another thing is you keep the idea that they cannot reproduce, right? Because in that it makes them unique in that sense.
Yeah. Well, there's a genetic thing involved with that. I mean, there is a balance. It's kind of like that whole Marvel superhero thing. You can't have someone who's got all this power and just give them everything. Nature has to keep a balance a bit. And so you have a limited number of people, a limited number of immortals kept compared to the general population of the planet. And then you allow this to happen. You have the person who actually.
But you're saying that new immortals can still be created.
Yes.
Yeah, up to a point.
Okay, I like that idea.
I would say it's more of a generational thing, like every few generations.
But they can't create of their own. It's just something that happens in nature.
And I also like the idea that there could have been a lot of immortals that just never became immortals because they just grew to natural death, right?
Yes. But if you have the person that got the prize, who now is the person running or at least overseeing the watchers, to allow them to understand, hey, this person's attempting to do this, that way the watchers can actually be everywhere. Because without that, eventually you're going to have a group of immortals, whether good, bad, or whatever, they're just going to want to go out and do their own thing. Mm-hmm. And they don't understand that there's somebody who can actually read minds to tell when you're actually going to try to F stuff.
Well, you bring this up, and I paused the slideshow for this reason, because he does say right here at the end, if I concentrate, I know what people are thinking all over the world.
Yes.
And that was something that slips by you because you would thought he had taken becoming totally mortal, but the fact is no, he still has powers.
So I have a point of personal privilege. Sorry to interrupt about this scene. There are 2 aircraft seen in this scene.
Yeah,
fighter jet aircraft going over. That's the squadron I was on.
Oh, nice!
That was my squadron. Yeah, my RAF squadron.
Cool.
I worked on those aircraft that were in this.
Was it a tornado, Brian?
No, the Jaguars.
Nice.
What were they called?
Jaguars.
What is that?
A what?
It's a fighter. Jaguar.
It's just wonderful the way you say it. It's so
supersonic jet attack aircraft.
Just to finish up the whole point of rewriting the remake, that I'm sure they won't use any of the ideas we're saying, because of course they won't. I think also you could clean it up then by also kind of setting up this idea that yes, there has to be a balance of power, and yes, from time to time it will be changing hands, but there always has to be other ones to fight other ones and whatever. And you can also have this idea that the reason they're considered immortals is that the original souls or whatever that keep getting sent on through generations, you could have them be like fallen angels or angels from, and that kind of sets you up for the why they can't fight on holy ground bit and stuff like that. So you can add like a religious aspect to it, to where it is like, why are they different? Well, because they were angels, right? Like they were the original angels. And
they talk about, like in Ancient Aliens, they refer.
You can even have them be like, here's even better yet. You can even have them be the original fallen. I have that too, Keith. That's awesome. Yours is probably better quality than mine, though. Mine was kind of a shit quality one. But you can even have it be like
doesn't have blood on it, but his own.
Yeah, right. You can even have it be that the immortals were angels that fell in battle fighting for God, in the old ancient wars or something like that.
So what I'm talking about is, with the ancient alien theories, we go back to that original book that talks about Noah and the giants. What were they called? I forgot what they're called, Keith.
Nephilim. Yeah.
That they could be the Nephilim.
If you're going to do that,
idea, Tom.
If you're going to do that, then you can attach it to that other film series that Gregory Wyden came up with, besides Highlander, which is The Prophecy. And if you do that, that expands.
That was a great series, and yes, he did a good job with that.
Yeah, he did a really good job with that.
I need to hit the chat because we got some great comments here that got highlighted. First one is from Che, and he says Highlander the TV series is getting remastered.
Yes, I said that earlier. They've been working on it for a
didn't
couple of
catch
years
that.
now. There's actually a trailer out there now that's been out for a couple of years.
When are we going to get it?
Supposedly it's coming this year. I guess they.
So, 'cause I'd love to see that.
I don't know if it just
Are they
took
gonna
this long
fix-
because they,
Is it going to still be TV block, or are they going to?
No. They went back to the original, either negatives
Format.
or original broadcast version. So yeah, it'll be in the 4:3.
Okay.
Now I don't know what they were, if they just took this long just because they were scanning everything, or if they had to find a distributor, or what the deal was. But yeah, my understanding is it's supposed to be out later this year. So we'll see.
Kingsport Cal says, anybody want to see the third place prize? Third place is you fired, Alec Baldwin.
Oh my.
Oh, this Baldwin.
Fuck you! That's my name.
Soul Assassin says people find out they're immortals, then could have a side story of them being hunted by governments in hopes of finding how they're immortal. Yeah, I get what you're saying there.
We saw
No,
that. We've
the-
seen that played out in other movies. If you have the
They would-
Watchers set up, that
Yeah,
should help to.
The immortals
exist.
all the immortals will be part of the World and Economic Forum.
Well, you would have a villain in that story of somebody who wants to become immortal that's hunting them.
That's
I
just
think
it.
so.
Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah.
they should reveal that there's been a misprint and it was actually the Immortals. There was no T all along. They were completely wrong. It was the Immortals.
Well, that explains you, Brian.
Yes, it does.
Oh,
Read by Nature says, plot twist, make the prize a lie enforced by a hidden bad guy or faction, perhaps even the watchers of an ancient evil fearful of immortals. Let's see, we got another one.
Chances are they're not going to change too much. It'll probably be very
Yeah.
similar to the first movie, but yeah.
I agree, and they should try to keep it that way. TV series brought in the dark quickening when an immortal's head is taken on holy ground. I don't remember that. I must have missed that episode.
Yeah, that's in the later
I
seasons.
think I missed almost a whole season. I was in the military
Well,
when it was.
And they have that
out.
whole bit in Highlander Endgame where that's the whole thing is the bad guys breaking like all the rules. Like I think he even kills somebody on holy ground in that too, but I don't think they even. So that's the thing. They did such a shit piss poor job of connecting things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
like-
Skull Assassin brings this back up again, Tom. They don't fight on holy ground, so religion exists among the immortals.
Yeah, that's what kind of made me was thinking like, you can tie it into that these are like, angelic beings, the dark immortals being like, the devil's fallen angels and then the good ones being God's fallen angels during the wars. And this is kind of like their reward is they get to live forever
but
on earth
the-
among
the-
humans. And yeah.
the thing
By
is,
the way, becoming mortal it is a really weird term. It means that he can grow old, but he's still what he is, which is why he's able to still read minds at the end of the film.
Mhm.
And that was from E. Clay Thomason. Let's see. I think they talked
What was
about
Martin gonna
developing.
say there? I don't think he said shit the whole show and you just walked over him.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get to the chats because we star them for a reason. Martin, were you going to say something?
I think
You forgot.
my mind. Yeah.
Sorry, Martin. I tried.
It's okay. He's almost 70. A lot of people don't see him. He's gray haired and.
That is not true. Stop telling lies
Not
about this man.
I think they talked about developing the lore.
Sorry.
The lore a bit more than it was originally, which clearly that's what we've been talking about this whole thing is that that is what they've got to do because the film was not designed to have a spinoff. It wasn't. That was an ending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I remember. I remember.
There was a dog bark.
The thing is, with the consecrated ground, it is not constrained only to Christianity. It's any belief.
It's any holy ground, whether it be Native American, whether it be
so
Jewish,
it's not a religious thing as much as
Well, they don't even
you know.
necessarily have to remember that. That can just be the setup as to where they come from or what, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like they're just kind of the reincarnation of those angels and falling on both sides. And it's
Which
kind of
ju-
this balance of power that keeps being battled throughout time, basically.
Right. Now, Kingsmore Cal was making fun of Brian here by going Jaguar.
By the way, there's
We
another
have
way
a-
you could do Highlander.
We have a saying about that in Scotland. Fuck you.
We by nature says you need to keep that element of tragedy and curse.
Yes.
I agree. That's the vampire thing too. Still, that comes right out of Dracula.
There's as much
Yeah.
downside as there is upside. Yeah.
You know, because I love the film Bram Stoker's Dracula because it shows that he is relieved at the end of the film to have gotten his life back. And
that's where you just have them compelled to have to fight, right? Like it's like this thing that they can't avoid, right? As much as they try to be conscientious observers or whatever you want to call it, like it doesn't matter. They have that gut.
The quickening
instinct
is an
thing.
actual animal-like drive that when one sees
Like
the
a
other one at a
bloodlust.
specific
Yeah.
time. It's a specific time.
It's a fit.
You know, and if they get hit by it, and I think that it would be based solely on when each immortal was born, that the closer they are to that period of time, it's like Ponfar with Spock. Remember, every 7 years he goes ape shit and throws food trays against the wall.
Well, I think you can throw that part out too, the whole like time period thing. Like, I don't think that really matters.
You don't think it would work?
I think it just matters more about how powerful they are. Like, I like the idea that they can sense one is near, and they can also sense how powerful they are.
Like,
Right,
there's a
because-
capping. There's a capping that takes place that once they hit that capping, they become more driven.
And that
Well,
explains Kurgan in the film because
Yes.
it is possibly be driven.
He's
mad
the
by
most
doing so
powerful.
much.
Well,
Yeah,
not
he's
only
the
that,
most
they set up that
powerful.
he's one of the oldest ones. See, that's the other
Uh-huh.
thing that people don't really catch in the movie is they
Mhm.
set up that he is part of like these original tribes of like the Vikings and all that kind of shit.
Well, I got
But
the
he comes from
impression
that,
it's
like-
the Mongol steppes.
Or Mongols and all that shit. Yeah, like
Yeah.
all way back when. So he's been around since like way, way longer than a lot of the other guys. That's kind of what's set up, basically.
And that's the reason why killing Ramirez was important
Yeah.
and powerful, because Ramirez, remember, people also skip over the fact that Ramirez has been, when
One of
he
the
meets
originals
Connor,
too, or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ramirez has been going for 2,000 years
Yep.
by the time he meets Connor.
So when he killed Ramirez, that made him like twice as powerful as he already was. Yeah.
Of how old he was. Quotes from the Raven said, as long as they don't repeat Highlander 2, which of course we're in accord. That
That's
movie
what they
doesn't
need to
exist.
avoid, basically.
Yeah. Just that film doesn't exist. Zeist was one of the dumbest fucking ideas I've
guarantee you, I think
ever heard.
I said it earlier, but I'm sure they'll have a line somewhere and they'll be like, "Where do you guys come from?" or whatever, and Henry will be like, "Well, we're not aliens or some stupid."
Exactly. I made that joke earlier. I said, well, it's not like we're from some alien planet named Zeist.
Well, that's a little specific, but I mean, that's what happens when Gregory Wyden was not allowed to really have anything to do with any other further productions after that. He had more, quote unquote, he was more connected to the first film because it's based on his original idea and screenplay. Okay, so once they got him out, that's what happened. When you have people that had no real connection to a lot of what Gregory Wyden had done, because by going in and making the prophecy, Gregory Wyden was able to prove the point. Hey, I had a lot more to do with that first film than a lot of people think. And when you watch the prophecy, you understand that. So by bringing him in for the third movie, I think they used him to help at least cap down on a lot of the dumb stuff.
guys, I think Brian has to go.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah, we
so-
got into the 2-hour mark anyways.
Yeah, we've hit the 2-hour mark. You got enough time for me to wrap this up?
Yeah, I do.
If you're wrapping up
Brian?
straight away, yeah.
Yeah, let's do this real quick. I'm going to show some quick video. I got to break it up a little bit because I know that they'll gank us for it. So then we have. I love that the sword went into the number 1 position in front of him with his head gone.
Mhm.
He still did that.
That's called
And
muscle
then, of course,
memory.
muscle memory. That's some
Love
cool
that
shit
glass.
right there.
Mm.
And I love that they used that building out of New York. It's in Manhattan, isn't it?
Am I did
Silver
everybody
Cup?
see this?
Silver Cup.
Did everybody watch this movie in the theater? Because I did.
Yes,
I watched
I
it
did.
originally.
No.
Oh yeah, I saw it in the theater. Yeah.
I saw it, yeah. When it came out.
Sadly, I didn't see it till I was a teenager, believe it or not.
I
I
saw
actually
it
had
in
a
theaters.
girlfriend who was into this shit, and that's what got me into it. Go ahead, Martin. I'm sorry.
Do you want to know how it was called in Venezuela? Well, in whole Latin America, to be fair, it was called the Immortals. That was the
What's
name.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Let me see. I need to find
Probably
out.
because they have
everybody
no
was.
idea what the hell a Highlander is. We don't even know
Right.
what Brian's saying.
You're freaking right.
in foreign countries, they'll change the names because, like, if you've got something that's in Spanish means no go, you're going to change that title. Which is, what is that car that's what is that no go, Martin, in Spanish?
Pinto?
No, there was a car that was it means no go in Spanish, and they had to change the name in
Was it
Spanish.
Yugo or no go or Pinto?
No
I don't
go.
remember.
Yeah, no go in Spanish. Anyway, fuck it. I'm not going to fucking worry
We gotta
about
go. Brian wants to get the fuck out of here. He's got to.
I gotta
I
go.
want to thank Lord Thoth, Slasher Fred, Real Wade Nation Gaming, Cavatino Calverman Shea, Quotes from the Raven. Welcome to the show, my friend. Read by Nature, E. Clay Thomason, Soul Assassin, Ham Dinger, War Monkey, Max Demon, FKHC 2005, aka Tim, Penny, Clifton 3D, Rancor Steve was here, RRTZ TNZ, Kingsport Cal, Comic Relief Crusader, Mike was here. I have to drop. Oh, that's 70s rock. No suggest message. I'm not going to read those. Like, I'm serious. I get going and I'll just read fucking private messages.
I'm gonna have to trick you into something with that.
It's easy to do. So here we go. Like, yeah, Gary's a dipshit. Oh, fuck you. So thanks a lot, guys. We're out of here. Brian, Tom, is great hanging out. Shinatsky, Martin, Emma, the love of my life, was very quiet during the show. And then, of course, Black Keith came in, not White Keith, but Black Keith, and joined us for part of the show. Deeply appreciate it, brother.
Ooh,
yeah, there comes the sword.
He's pulling out his weapon.
I
And
told you,
he's-
I would cascade as Ramirez.
Yeah.
His dick is
He's-
still longer.
He knows where my studio is, so I got to be careful. He also knows where I sleep. All right, guys, have a great Saturday. Be safe, and see you Monday for Gallipoli with Mel Gibson. All right, guys, bye.